Do negative opinions about you ever affect you? People watch quietly. They rarely say what they are thinking. But if you have been observing my content for a while, you probably have one or two questions you might want to ask. And one of them might be this: do negative opinions ever affect you? I've heard them, but I've learned something important about opinions. Not every voice deserves a seat in your table. When you show up online consistently, people start forming opinions about you. Some admire you, some doubt you, and some are simply curious. And a lot of people don't ask their questions directly. They just watch. And today I'm going to answer a few of those quiet questions, especially the ones that people think about but they rarely talk about. People think it's some kind of special ability. It's not. It's just structure. When your day is planned out and when your day has directions, you find out that your energy is shifted to somewhere in particular. Some people do not lack talent, they lack reading. And when you have your phone, when you have YouTube, when you have other videos, there are a lot of skills you could learn. Learning skills is not just about learning a soft skill that you can earn from. You can actually learn a skill that will help you in your productivity or management skills. You can learn management skills. You can learn other skills that can help you to bring out your optimum productivity and help you to function properly, not just in terms of knowledge to earn money. You can just get other forms of knowledge that will help you to manage life anywhere or anyhow you see it. I find this particular question rather interesting because I don't build identity based on age. Rather, identity is built on values, character, and conviction. You can be young and grounded. You can also be old and still searching. So rather than that, I focus on growth. Growth seems more important to me than just labels. Honestly, my days goes like this. Usually intentional, usually quiet, and consistency is not fun. But when you keep on being consistent, at a point, it makes you successful. Your day only goes well when you plan it out. It's all about planning your day and being productive each minute. And most important, you need to take short breaks once in a while. The internet creates this illusion that everyone is constantly winning. But the real life moves about in seasons. Some seasons about building, some seasons about refining, and some seasons about waiting silently. So the thing is here is that I did not depend on the algorithms or people's opinions enough for me to grow. I did not depend on being active. I did not depend on being active all the time. Not for me to grow, but for me to be successful. Ultimately, my real source is knowing that there is a God out there that makes provisions for me. But let me not confuse you by you staying one place and not doing anything and hoping on God. That might be the case for some. But me, I'm constantly evolving. And I know that my ultimate provider is above, not opinions or algorithms or anything happening in the internet. Because you can believe anything that happens in the internet that you want to believe. Of course, but that doesn't mean I'm defeated. Rest is a part of discipline. Even strength requires recovery. So once you're tired, you take a rest, then you come back and continue. That's an honest question. Growth can feel tired sometimes, but solitude and loneliness are not the same. Solitude creates clarity, and clarity protects purpose. So you might be quiet at this point, you might be feeling as if you are isolated, but with time, with growth, you find out that you see yourself in a better place. And when you are there, you might not actually need to be with somebody, see people that actually admire you or see that you are valuable, they'll come to you. You don't really need to always be available. Success does not mean that you relax and stop trying, but that's usually what leads you back to where you started. So it's better when you know that you're already progressing. Just keep on putting in more effort. Because it's daily acts, because it's your daily habits that help you to survive. Confidence doesn't mean that life is always certain. Confidence simply means that your identity is stable. And when you have an identity that is built on faith in God and not just for applause, then you find out that you just stop performing for approval. Here's one thing I've learned. Criticism can be useful only when it comes from people who understand the journey. Random noise from sidelines, well, they're just background sound. Well, that is because not everything sacred needs an audience. Privacy is not secrecy, it's wisdom. And it's not everything that you share because some parts of your life are meant for to be between you and your partner or between you and God. And don't mistake that for not sharing your values. You can always share your values and your progress. But sharing intimate parts of life, like everything, if I do this, I'll come and show you. That has never been what I believe in. Because I believe in my relationship, not just with my partner, but also with God. No, that's not the way it works. It is as a result of preparations behind the scene that people do not know about. The calmness you see is built on discipline behind the scenes. That question is personal, but here's what I would say. When you focus on creating value consistently, opportunities usually follow. Because I do not place my trust on platforms or consistent. I place my trust in God. And one thing I'll tell you is that there are free videos, free tools that you can always use. The only thing is that some do not pay attention. Some of you, when you open your phones, first thing you scroll is just watching one TikTok dance, watching this, watching that. So, and that's what the algorithm will recommend for you. You watch content based on your field. If you're focused on fashion, maybe you should start watching fashion videos. If you're a content creator, maybe you should watch other content creators in your niche. I think that's the best advice out there for now. Because some people might think that you must have to. Yes, that's true. You must have. Some people might have to really start to learn a course. But let me tell you one thing. Everybody, God created everybody differently. Some people can just look through something and grab it as fast. One thing I'll tell you for free is that knowledge comes from consumption. And what you consume regularly actually becomes part of you. Now, back to the question. Does negative opinion affect me? They exist, but they do not define me. God teaches you something powerful. You must learn which voice deserves your attention. Some voices will guide you, and some are there to distract you. And some voices reveal their own insecurities. When identity depends on people, you constantly feel unstable. But when your identity comes from God, opinions lose their authority. If you've ever had people question you about your journey, when you are building something meaningful, share your own perspective in the comments. Maybe someone out there needs to hear that perspective today. At the end of the day, people will always want opinions about your journey. But one thing is important for you to understand. You don't need people to understand your journey. You only need to have courage to keep walking it. Because once you walk with God, what you need to do is to have faith in where God is leading you and have courage in walking your journey.